Okay, fine. Let us not waste the time. I request everybody keep your all the questions at the end of the session. So it's a bit lengthy topic, so we have to cover. I'm sure definitely end of the session we have a question and answers. Okay. Yeah. I hope you are able to see this slide. We are in this slide in first session. So these are the five major areas the accidents will be chances, or these are the five major causes. Material, task in the sense maybe a method or management, personal, or also environment. Okay. Next, advantages of investigation. Why we do the accident investigation? Why we do identification of hazard to find out the facts or fact findings and to analyze the root causes of the accidents. Why we do one is identification of hazard, then identify the fact. It is not about the blaming. You should not blame others during doing accident investigation. It should not be a for blaming culture. So we are doing this investigation to find the fact and also analyze the root cause. Why this accident has been happened? What is the exact the reason for this accident? Then to calculate the cost of the accidents, it will be useful. And also to publish the accident statistics. So how many accidents have been so far, and to find out the remedial or preventive measures. So how we are going to find or how we are going to prevent these cases, definitely the investigation will help us. Then to fulfill the statutory requirements. When doing investigation, what will happen? It is going to fulfill the statutory requirement. In the sense, any accident happens, there we have to have a corrective action or preventive action to avoid the reoccurrence. So it is fulfill the legal requirements. We compare the accident cost and data. So if we are having investigations, so we can able to compare, we can able to analyze, okay, what is the cost of previous year accidents? What is the cost of the current year accidents cost? Then to publish the accident statistics and reports. Then who should do the accident investigation or investigate the accidents? Who will do? You see here, the accidents will be investigated to the first line supervisors. First line supervisor in the sense, the people who is directly reporting or who is directly controlling the people. They are the best people to do an accident investigation. But practically, they will simply put on safety officer's head to do a investigation. They are not going to support. But the best way is to identify the real root cause. If they are gentlemen, they are the first people to do a accident investigation. Then accident investigation committee, which is nothing but safety committee also we can say, or some of the companies they'll have a dedicated accident investigation committee in very rare cases. Then safety officer or safety inspector, etc., or safety committee, factories inspector or other inspectors. So in case of any major fatal accidents happens, so there the external people also will be involved in the accident investigation. Then process and steps of accident investigation. How it will be investigation can be done. If you see the steps or process, recognize the need for investigation. We have to see whether it is really required investigation. Maybe some of the cases, a minor scratch or very small injuries or very minor injuries. So need not to do an investigation. That is a waste of time spending. So we have to recognize first whether it is required investigation or not. The information gathering or data collection. Then we have to collect the data which is required for investigation and analyze the information and also facts and determine the root cause of the problem. Then whatever the information we got, we have to analyze. Okay, whether which is correct or which is wrong. Then so that we can come across with the exact root cause. Then determine corrective and preventive action. Once you have identified the root cause, against that root cause, we have to determine the corrective or preventive action. Corrective action in the sense, after the accident, whatever the actions you are taking to avoid the reoccurrence, that will be the corrective action. Preventive action in the sense, before accident happens, you are going to take an action to avoid that accident. ఏవైతే యాక్షన్స్ మనము ముందుగానే తీసుకొని ఆ పర్టికులర్ యాక్సిడెంట్స్ ని జరగకుండా చేయగలిగితే దాన్ని ప్రివెంటివ్ మెజర్స్ అంటారు, లేకపోతే ప్రివెంటివ్ యాక్షన్స్ అంటారు. కరెక్షన్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ప్రమాదం జరిగిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ అటువంటి ప్రమాదమే మళ్ళీ జరగకుండా ఉండడానికి దాన్ని మనం ఏమైనా యాక్షన్స్ తీసుకుంటే దాన్ని కరెక్టివ్ యాక్షన్ అంటారు. దెన్ ప్రిపరేషన్ ఆఫ్ రిపోర్ట్స్ అండ్ ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ ఆఫ్ కరెక్టివ్ అండ్ ప్రివెంటివ్ మెషర్స్ అండ్ ఆల్సో ఫాలో. వన్స్ యూ డిటర్మైన్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ప్రివెంటివ్ కరెక్ట్ యాక్షన్ ఐడెంటిఫై చేయటము, రిపోర్ట్ ప్రిపేర్ చేయటము, వాటిని ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయటము, దెన్ ఫాలో వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ సూటబుల్ యాక్షన్ ఆర్ నాట్. Number one, recognize the need for investigation. Then gathering of information. Then gathering of information. What kind of information will gather? Collection of personal data. Who is the person which is involved? And discussions with the concerned, whoever is involved or department people or eyewitnesses, we have to discuss. Then interviews by the asking relevant questions. We have to interview the people who is physically seen or eyewitnesses or the people who is having expertise in that specific process or activity by a relevant questions. What kind of questions we ask? So we ask who is involved, what he is doing during that accident, and where he was during that accident, when it has happened, why it has happened, and how it has happened, so that we can use 5W 1H for the questioning of an accident or scenario to identify the root causes. This already we have seen. Then questions to be asked on the task performed. How the questions can be asked. Was a safe work procedure is used? So if it is a task, we have seen these are the major causes of an accident, as we see here. Management, task, material, environment, personal. If you see here, if it is a task, what kind of questions we should ask? These are some of the questions. It is not a thumb rule that only you should ask this. These are some of the examples. Was the safe work procedure is used in case of their having any specific procedure to perform the task? And had conditions changed to make the normal procedure unsafe? In case the condition which is change the procedure to unsafe, whatever the conditions are there. For example, you want to do on a height work. The scaffolding, if you want to, you want to put. But instead of that, he went through the pipeline, he has done the activity because of a shortcut. He has taken the shortcut. Or there is a temporary scaffold or temporary structure, he has went there and he has performing the activity, in between he got fall down. Is there any conditions which is making the procedure or normal unsafe? And where appropriate tools and materials are available, whether the tools and materials are properly available or not, and where they have used, whether they have used properly, whether they use the right tool for the right job, and where safety devices working properly, for the safety devices are working properly or not, in case of any emergency stop button, in case of an isolation switch, or in case of any control valve, in case of any flow reducer, or whether they are working properly or not. Was the lockout used when necessary? In case it is happened due to of any energy release, whether if lockout it is there, whether they have used properly or not. Then in case of a question for the materials, what kind of questions we can ask? Was there an equipment failure? So whether the equipment is proper or the equipment itself got a failure, and what caused it to fail? If it is equipment fails, what is the reason of the failure of an equipment? And was the machinery properly designed? Whatever the machinery is there, whether it is properly designed or stationed or positioned, and were hazardous substances involved in case of any accident? Any hazardous substances are involved? Were they clearly identified in case of any hazards or substances are there which they are properly identified or not? Then was a less hazardous alternative substance or possible or available in case the whatever the material they are using it is hazardous? Is there any probability of identifying any alternative substances which is less hazardous than the existing material? అంటే తక్కువ ప్రమాదకారి అయిన మెటీరియల్స్ ఏమన్నా ఉన్నాయా? Was the raw material substandard in some ways in case of any raw material which is substandard to lead an accident? And should the personal protective equipments have been used? the people are used personal protective equipment or not. In case of environment, those are the questions we can ask during a material. In case of an environment, what were the weather conditions? Whether the condition is fine or is it is in a unconditional or abnormal. Was poor housekeeping a problem? In case if the area which is not properly maintained, that is a problem for leading these accidents. Was it too hot or too cold? Whether the condition where the people are working, whether it is too hot or too cold. And was the noise a problem? Because noise also makes the people to lose their concentration, and they are not able to receive the command from the supervisors. They are not able to convey their message to their co-workers. And was there adequate light, whether they are able to have proper illumination, and whether toxic or hazardous gases, dust or fumes are present. In case of that specific environment, any toxic or hazardous substances are there, due to that this specific accident would have happened. Questions to the person. In case of personal, but the workers are experienced in that work. It is very important that whatever the activity the people are performing, they should have the expertise in that activity, or they should have certain sort of experience in that activity. Had they been adequately trained, whether the people have been trained or not, can they physically do the work, whether they can able to physically perform the work, or they are not able to perform the activity because of weakness. What was the status of their health, the condition of the people, whether they're mentally, physically fit, were they tried or under stress, or whether they're tired, not right, tired or under stress, whether they are physically good or mentally good, if they have stressed or they are exhausted due to the long hours of work, and were they under stress, work or personal? If it is a stress due to a personal reason or due to the work. These are the questions we can ask in the personal. If you see the management side, if you see in the management, was the safety rules communicated to and also understood by all the employees? Whatever the rules are there, whether it has been properly communicated to all the employees. अरे बाबा, ये तो जितना रूल है ये आप फॉलो करना पड़ता है. जो जो सेफ्टी का जो रूल है, you have to follow. Otherwise, you will be get penalized or you are not going to get any benefit out of the company. What are the written procedures are available? What kind of set of rules to be followed? What set of the procedures to be followed? Were they being enforced? It is not about only telling whether we are enforcing it or not. Enforcing it is stressfully we are asking them to follow. Some of the areas they have to follow at all. By hook or crook, they have to follow. Was there any adequate supervision? After all this, we are doing any supervision of the people, which means somebody is there to monitor. But the workers are trying to do that work, whether people are trained to perform that activity, and had the hazards been previously identified. So before the accidents, have you identified any hazard? Where will identify? We will do an HIRA, hazard identification risk assessment. There we have identified the hazards or not. Have the procedures been developed to overcome them? Once you have identified the hazards, either you have developed any procedure to come out of those specific hazards. For the unsafe conditions corrected. Unsafe condition, as I told you, unsafe condition is a condition where it is leading to an accident. Where the regular maintenance of equipment is carried out. Whatever the equipments are there, whether we are doing a proper maintenance or not, where the regular safety inspections are carried out, whatever the equipment which is involved, whether we are properly doing an inspection or not. Then collection of primary accident data. What is the primary accident data? Which means the initial data. What kind of data we have to collect while uh, proceeding to an accident investigation. Name, age, sex, and also identification number of the injured person. Identification number in the sense employee ID. Date, time, and also shift of the occurrence. What date or what time and which shift. Location and department. Plant to which the injury person is belongs to. In which location, in which department, and also in which area, and also the person is belongs to. Which belongs to department we have to collect. Then parts of the body injured, which body part has been injured, nature of injury. Either it is an amputation, it is an cut, or whether it is an abrasion, whether it is an internal bleeding or fracture, what kind of injury it is. And advice and treatment rendered by the medical officer. What kind of advice and what kind of treatment has been given by the medical officer. An activity performed and things which went wrong before the accident. So what activity is performing and what went wrong, and names of the witnesses with their identification numbers, who has witnessed that incident or accident, and their identification numbers. These are the primary data we have to collect. Interviewing. While doing interviewing, what we can do is put to the witness who is probably upset or at ease. Also emphasize the real reason of investigation. Put the investigation is probably upset. Also emphasize the real reason. Emphasize in the sense we have to give the assurance why we are doing the investigation. They should not feel that साला safety वाला है अभी मेरे को फंसा देगा इसमें. They should not feel unsecure. They should give their whole heart. They have to give the real reasons for that accident and determine what happened and why. So we have to get what happened and why it has happened, and let the witness talk, and also you listen carefully. We should also have a patience as a safety guy to listen the people. Okay, they should talk. Then confirm that you have the statement correct. Then whatever the statement said there, we have to confirm and try to sense any underlying feelings of the witness. We have to understand whether he is giving a real reasons or whether he is putting something else. And make a short note only during the interview. We should not write everything in front of the witness. So we should have to remember, or we have to make a short note so that for the remembrance while making a report. Then don'ts. What we should not do during an interview. Intimidate, interrupt, and also prompt the witness. We should not interrupt. We should not intimidate. We should not put him in a pressure, put him in a stress, and we should prompt the witness. Ask leading questions. We should not ask a leading question, which will be leading into confusion. And show your own emotions. We should not show our own emotions because you are not doing for your own. You are doing for organization. Be a professional and make a lengthy note while witness is talking. We should not make any lengthy notes. We have to take a very short note. Now ask open-ended questions that cannot answered yes or no. We should not ask any questions which will be answer yes or no. He should be able to explain some bit. We should not give a open-ended questions. Yes or no, correct. Then analyze the information, also determine the root causes. This is in the third step, how you are going to analyze and determine the corrective and preventive actions. Then report preparation. Now we'll see a report of investigation. How we'll do a background information, where and when the accident have occurred, and who and what were the involved, and also operating person and also other witnesses. That will be the background information. Then we will write the description of the accident, what has happened, sequence of events or extent of damage or location. Then observations we will write, and discussion on how and why. What is the direct causes and also indirect causes of the accident. Then we will write the findings as we see direct causes, unsafe actions, unsafe conditions, and basic causes. And we will write the recommendations, and also there are some references also we can take, and name of the witnesses, and also we can have a rough sketch or a photograph for the easy remembrance of the scenario. Then preparation of accident investigation report. Record the employee's characteristics, whoever is there, their characteristics, and also record the characteristics of injury, how type of injury or how it is, and prepare a narrative description and also accident sequence. We have to put an accident sequence, how it has happened. Then record the characteristics of the equipment associated with the incident. In case of any equipment is involved, the characteristics of the equipment, the principles of the equipment, whether it is safe, whether it is properly maintained, whether it is fixed with all the safety precautions, whether it is fixed with the all the safety guards, whether it has been done the proper PM, everything we have to mention. And record the characteristics of the task being performed, what is the task which they are performed, that also we have to write. Then record the time factors, what are the time factors, whether he is doing overtime or extra hours, etc. And record the task and activity factors in case of any task which is there, which is not safe or which is not defined, or the activity which is given is not familiar or he has not done before. And record the supervision information, whatever the supervisors are there, whether they have observed anything, whether it is in a first time happened or whether is there any near misses happened before prior to this such accident. Then record the causal casual factors in case of any casual factors, in the sense the people are tendency have to, they'll work very casually, they'll be not focused on safety. And describe the corrective actions, what kind of corrective actions we can take. Prakash, you can keep your question for the end of the session. Just note your question. I'll answer you in the end of the session actually. Okay. Yeah. Then implementation and corrective action. Once you have made your report, then we'll start the implementation of corrective and preventive actions. Then we'll do a follow-up action, whether the implementation, whether it is correct or wrong, or the identified corrective or preventive action, whether it is suitable or not. If you see in a report of investigation, an accident or an accident investigation is not complete until a report is prepared and also submitted to the proper authorities, maybe an internal or external. This we have already seen. Accident investigation. One second. See this. Yeah. Accident investigation. How it will be? Either already we have seen, collect the primary data, visit accident spot. Okay. Then interrogate and record, analyze and conclude, decide remedial measures, prepare a report, ensure implementation. It is a simple process. Whenever the accident happens, we have to collect the primary data. Primary data we have seen: name, his age, the sex, where he has met with an accident, which place, what activity is doing, who is involved in that, what is the primary cause, and also who is the eyewitnesses. ఇలాగ మనకి primary data తర్వాత visit the accident spot. Accident spot ను visit చేయటము, interrogate and record. We have to interrogate the people of victim and also the person who is supervising or eyewitnesses. Then we have to analyze. Upon the information, we have to analyze the case. Then we have to conclude the root cause. అంటే దానికి ప్రమాదం జరగడానికి గల కారణాన్ని మనం conclude చేయాలి. Then decide the remedial measures, corrective or preventive actions we have to decide. Then we will make a report of accident investigation. Then we will implement the recommendations, which is nothing but remedial measures. What implementation, then we will do a follow-up action. This is also same report of investigations. And this is also same who will do one investigation, supervisor and also investigation committee. This is also a common data. Now we'll see inspections. How often must items be inspected? How we inspect? What is the loss severity? Then what is potential for injury to the employees based on the potential, which means how often it can occur. Based also you can decide, and how quickly can item or part become unsafe. So that is also a probability. How often or how quickly it become an unsafe to the people, and what is the past history of failure. By seeing the history of the failures also, we can decide the free accident potentials and with the standards that apply to his or her area. Familiarity with the accident potentials and also standards. What kind of situations or what kind of reasons which will be leads to accident. The ability to make intelligent decisions for corrective action. And then he should have a knowledge. They can take a proper corrective action. దానికి సరిపడా యాక్షన్ ని తీసుకోవడం. And diplomatically to handle the personal on situations. Diplomatically, some of the people they do a crash questions. They are not illogical questions. There is no logic at all for the specific scenario. So how we have to handle the situation. Knowledge of the organization operations, its workflow, systems, and products. And also we have to have a knowledge on workflow, how the process flow is happening in case of they are having any specific soap manufacturing or any chemical manufacturing, from where it starts. It starts from a raw material, then it will go to the stores. From there, they'll collect an MR, then it will go to the production process. They'll do a certain number of processes. Then they'll go for quality check. Then it will go for packaging. Then it will go for a dispatch. Like the way you should know the workflow and also systems and also products. Interviewing do's and don'ts we have covered. Okay. With this, we have done our session. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask. Yes.
Sir, Rahul here.
One by one.
Sir,
yes, Rahul.
Sir, one quick question. Do we need to ask yes or no questions or not, sir?
No, we should not ask.
Okay.
Sir, I'm Sinraj here.
Yes, Sinraj.
Sir, this investigation time during preparation of report, where we can able to implement this fishbone analysis and also this poultry analysis in case of any incident or accident, sir?
In the stage of analysis. In the stage of analysis information, where use the 5-eye analysis and Ishikawa fishbone technique, all you can use in the analysis of data.
So basically, what will be the internal time frame to complete this investigation report, sir?
That is also, as you mentioned, it is internal, Rahul. Basically, they will have a procedures for the investigation of these accidents. They will see, even they'll put a condition that if in case of any accident happens, within the limit of shift itself, they have to report. In case of accident investigation, within 24 hours or within 48 hours, they have to complete. In case of any actions, or if the accident is major, the corrective action should be implemented within a week or within 10 days or immediate or within 15 days or within 3 months. Based on the criteria, they will define in their internal procedures. It is up to their criteria how they are practicing in their organization and their procedures.
Yeah, noted, sir. But
Yeah.
I mean, that will be the first report we need to share within immediately within a day like that. But
for inspector of factories, within 24 hours, we have to submit the report, or we have to notify them at least. Sir, so and so accident have been happened in any form of media, either electronic or like that. We have to inform to the inspector of factories. Internally, that is up to us how you are going to do it.
Yes, sir. But thank you. But what will be the industrial practice, sir, that detailed investigation report need to finalize?
Industry practices will be within 24 to 48 hours. They used to do the investigation. They will give the corrective actions, and the implementation of action will be depends on the severity of the accident. In case a major, there will be an immediate probability to happen similar kind of accident. They will immediately take the corrective action. Or if they have met with the severity is very high, the loss is very more, immediately they'll go for an implementation within a week time or within 10 days, because some of the actions which is financially tied up. So in that case also it will be take some time.
Yeah, thank you.
It is up to the yeah. Yes, Rahul.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Rahul. 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 Yes, Yes, Jagadish.
Yes, sir. Actually, coming to the Rahul's questions, every individual company having their own standard, like incident investigation
Yes.
standard. In that standard, they are
Yeah.
mentioning for near miss case, within how many days we have to submit their investigation report, and for the fatality case, within how many days we have to submit the investigation report. There are the internal standard.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. They'll have an internal criteria how it has to be done. If it is a near miss, how it has to be reported. If it is in a first aid case, how it has to be reported, and what is the corrective action for that. If it is a reportable accident, how it is going to be do an investigation, and within what time frame the action should be completed, like that.
Sir, my next question is this forms we need to submit. You said, sir, in
Yeah.
Karnataka it is Form 17 and Form
17
23.
and 17A, if I'm not wrong, 17A.
Yeah, correct, right, sir. 17 and 17A, and monthly, if nil register, is 23.
Yeah, that is in
That
a
will be the same,
register
sir?
you will maintain. Yeah.
Right, sir, right. But that will be
Sorry,
the
Rahul,
same for.
I didn't got you. Rahul, I didn't get you.
Sir, my question is, as you said, in Karnataka, that is, if any accident happens, the Form 17 and 17A, we need to submit. This will be the same for other
Not
states.
both. If you see, yeah, other states also same. For example, AP it is 1818A. In Andhra, I mean Karnataka it is 1717A. Maybe the number may be changed, but form it is completely same only. Numbers may be here and there it will change. That's all.
Okay, and also, okay, thank you, sir. But continuation of that, you were saying 17 or 17A we need to submit. Can you brief about this, sir, please?
No, it is not a continuation. In this, one small difference is there. The 17 will be the accident which will be resulting in a personal injury. The 17A will be which is not result in a personal injury. It is only dangerous occurrence. Something has happened, only property got damaged. People have been not involved in that incident. That is 17A. If it is 17, it is a personally injured. People are involved in that incident.
Yeah, then when 17A we should submit, sir, because 17 you said the LTA we need to submit.
Personal
17A.
injury, yeah. 17A will be dangerous occurrences where the people have been not involved in that incident. Only the equipment or process have been involved, or people are not injured in that specific case.
Got it, sir, but expecting little more clarity, because here we have trigger point that if injury happened, one day person not come, then we need to share. But here in this 17A, little bit expecting little bit explanation,
The
sir, please.
17
Sir,
A will be, it is in a reportable. Yes, Murali Krishna garu, cheppandi.
What I wish to add to the sir is that in the form 18, when an incident occur, the person is injured as well as the property loss. When do we raise the form 18A is that, example, there is a cable fire in our MCC room, which does not affect to any people, but leads to dangerous occurrence inside the factory where the operations get disturbed. It has to be reported in the form 18A, a
Correct.
dangerous occurrence which may lead to the measure, but due to the existing controls, we brought it in the form 18A, we will fill it and submit to the factories department. It took around 10 hours and brought it to the normal situation. It comes under the dangerous occurrence. I hope you understood.
Sorry, friend. Last sentence, can you repeat? Resulted 10 hours.
Not like
No,
that.
no, no. For the action
As a
to
regular
take it back to the normal condition. The
Yeah.
situation they have, I mean, the situation to take it back to the normal condition, they have taken the 10 hours. He is giving an example, Rahul. In case of any faulty electrical connection or it is in a short circuit, which will be resulting to the effect of operations, it may leads to a major damage or a major accident. They have taken a back or that they have taken back the condition to the normal. They have took the 10 hours time that is mentioned.